So let me just say a couple things about this because, and it's come up in the briefing room before because this has been happening for the past several weeks. So as we have said repeatedly, there's a process in place. We have had a process in place. There's a legal way of doing this. And for managing migrants, Republican governors interfering in that process and using migrants as political pawns is shameful, is reckless, and just plain wrong. And remember, these are people who are fleeing communism, who are fleeing hardship. And if these governors truly care about border security, they should ask Texas Governor Ted Cruz and Florida Senators Marco Rubio and Rick Scott why they voted against the president's request for record funding for the Department of Homeland Security. So this is what they have done. These both senators Marco Rubio, Senator Rick Scott, have voted against, did not vote for, this funding that would have helped the Department of Homeland Security. That is just a fact. And also the fact that that Fox News and not the Department of Homeland Security, the city or local NGOs were alerted about a plan to leave migrants, including children, on the side of a busy DC street makes clear that this is just a cruel, premeditated political stunt. This is what they are doing. And a couple more things. The migrants, including children, who arrived in Martha's Vineyard were misled about where they were being taken and what would be provided when they arrived is also deeply alarming. The children Governor Abbott abandoned in Martha's Vineyard, the children that Governor DeSantis abandoned as well, deserve better. They deserve better than being left on the streets of DC or being left in Martha's Vineyard. They deserve a lot better than that. And as we have done many times in response to attempts to create chaos and confusion by Republican governors, we are working to manage the consequences of these two stunts as well.
And when you say there's a legal way of doing this, are you implying that the way it's being done now is illegal?
So I'll say this. We've been asked about if we're going to take any legal action. I would refer that to the Department of Justice, but there is a process. There's a process of taking in migrants. There's a process that is in place, and what they are doing is a legal stunt, is a political stunt, and it's really just disrespectful to humanity. It doesn't afford them any dignity what they're doing when you are abandoning families and children. In a place where they were told they were going to get housing, in a place where they were told they were going to get jobs, or abandoning on the DC streets, it is just cruel. And it's not about the process. Actually, it's about a political tool, a political stunt that they're moving forward with.
On the situation along the border, crossings are up, drownings along the border are increasing. We've been to one town recently where the morgue is overwhelmed by migrant deaths. Are you confident, and do you feel that the situation at the border is under control? Are you doing enough?
So what we have been doing is doing the work that wasn't done by the last administration. We are fixing a broken system. It is not like turning the light switch on. It is going to take some time. But I'll say this, more individuals encountered at the border will be removed or expelled this year than in any previous year. That is something of the work that the DHS has been doing and how we have been moving forward and making sure that we're doing our part here. We have made over 3,000 arrests in the first 3 months of launching an aggressive campaign to combat the multi-billion-dollar human smuggling industry. So we have seen the work that we have done and how it's been effective. And again, there is a process in place to manage migration flows. That includes expelling migrants as required by court order under Title 42, transferring them to ICE custody, or monitoring migrants through the alternatives to detention program as they await further processing. So there is a process in place. What these Republican governors are doing, again, is a political. They're using people. They're using desperate people who are trying to come here because they're fleeing communism themselves as a political pawn, And it's horrific and it's shameful.
The busing aside, how do you explain this influx?
Well, again, we understand that we have work to do. We understand that, and we have been doing the work to do that. We have taken unprecedented action over the past year and a half to secure our border and rebuild a safer and orderly process system. In the last year and a half, we have installed new border technology and set up joint patrols with Mexico and Guatemala to catch more human traffickers. We have already made 3,000 arrests, as I just mentioned. We have secured record levels of funding for the Department of Homeland Security, and we have put in place dedicated immigration judges so asylum seekers can have their cases heard faster. We have expanded labor pathways, including H-2B visas. So we are doing the work. We know that it's going to take some time, but again, we have removed more individuals or encountered more individuals at the border. They will be removed or expelled this year than in any previous year, and so that tells you a little bit about the facts of what we've been doing.